Hello. This is a review of the coursework completed on the Ansoff Growth Matrix. And I just want to talk about what we've done here. Um, I've worked in Rise 360, and I've also incorporated some of the logos and images from product growth leaders so that it can be used in their materials. What we started by doing was explaining what's in the course. And then we go through a scenario series, and then a bit of education on something called the Ansoff Matrix. So let's go through and find out more about Ansoff Growth Matrix. We can see here on the left, we have the different modules, okay, that are available. But what I really want to do is maybe just go through and talk about the scenario. So in this scenario, we have Susan, who is basically a new product manager, and she has a situation that arises in that her boss and her boss's boss uh, show up in a meeting, and she's a bit nervous because she doesn't know why they're meeting, and she certainly doesn't know why her chief product officer is being so friendly towards her across the office. So what happens is Marie, who is her boss, comes over and starts talking to her and saying, I noticed that you noticed that he was over there and he really wants you to start presenting to him. And she gets very nervous because she really doesn't feel very comfortable with this. And so Marie offers to teach her a new framework. And this is where the Ansoff Matrix comes in. And so here they go. Here's the learning objectives in a screen, and they're going to go through how Ansoff Matrix works. But first, there's some basics that need to happen. So there's sort of a quick definition, a link to the man who developed it, and then here's some key components that we can see. I'm going to put this aside just for the moment. So here we see a modified Ansoff Growth Matrix. And in it, there are certain terms that are used. And so we want to make sure that people are comfortable with those terms. So if they click on, for example, personas or market or existing or products or initiatives, so these are not necessarily new or existing, but they're literally definitions of these terms, then they get the definitions. And then they have to go through a little quiz, which basically talks about what's going on. Let's see here. I think I'm going to answer all of this. So this is a drag and drop interactivity scenario, and then they submit it. And if they don't submit it, they can't continue. Once they do continue, we talk a little bit about Ansoff complexity and risk. Okay, so green means low risk, yellow medium risk, and red high risk. And then there's another kind of a quick review. If you have something which is a new product in existing market, what category is that? When we turn these things over, we have these things color coded. So it's not just we have information about them, but also we have some context for them to go through. And then we just remind them what they covered in the course. And then we tell them what's going to happen next, which is let's explore the details of the Ansoff Matrix. And then they go in and they do one row by one row. So each module consists of one row. And initially, there's this mystery row called market shown here. And so we want to make sure that we address the existence of it and acknowledge that they're going to have to complete it. That will depend very much on their scenarios. So we describe the situation, what is an existing product, and then we go through square by square. And then with each square, they have to do a quiz. And very simple quizzes, it's multiple choice. And if they complete that correctly, they are allowed to go on to the second one. I'm going to go through this rather quickly because the Ansoff Matrix is very technical. So short explanation, I don't make it very long. This one has to do with beer and existing products. So Heineken beer is sold all over the place. So we talk about the beer markets for some strange reason. And then we continue. And at the end of each row, there's this congratulations. So congratulations, keep going. And then just for fun, I put a little quote at the bottom of each one saying, This one's from Steve Jobs. And so our target market is product managers. So they're very much product management kind of quotes. And then we go through and we do the middle row. Now, in this row, we're talking about initiatives versus products. So that's an issue that people might want to resolve. They might want to figure out, like, how would I know that it's an initiative? How would I know that it's a product? And you'll notice that I've color coded it. So traditional headings are blue, but when we have sort of this extra bit, then I changed it to green. All right. And the same when people have a quiz, then their instructions there are in red. And let's see if I can remember all of this. Right. That one. And again, we're going to go through this for all 9 sections. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump here a little bit, and I want to go into new products, because now we start talking about risk. So the risk becomes more and more of an issue as we go through learning about Ansoff. And let's see. Hopefully I can answer these. I will make sure that you are able to actually do this if you really feel like learning much more about Ansoff Matrix. So finally, the riskiest one is called the suicide cell. And it's a very high risk cell. And we talk about how you might end up here. We also identify those scenarios where product managers are probably going to spend most of their time. So we're very clear about that as well. And then we continue by encouraging people, saying, congratulations, you've completed this. And then we move on and we give people a case study. In this case, we give people a case study about Salesforce. All right. And so in Salesforce, we have different moves. And so we're going to tell them what they do. We're going to review the business move decision, decide which of the Ansoff Matrix, and then also give them an audio commentary. So I'll just play one. So this is their first move. And what we do is we literally go through the history of Salesforce, 2005, 2010, 2015, right? We go through all of these, and then we map it on so people can tell which area each of these decisions fell within the Ansoff matrix. Now, instead of doing another quiz, I chose to create these very, you can see it didn't actually work. I'm trying to do this quickly, which is never good. So basically we drag and drop these cards so that people are able to experience, their review the material that they just learned. And then we review, again, this is sort of like an aside, which is Salesforce and Ansoff risk. So what's going on there? And explaining why they might have made certain decisions. Also, quick thank you to somebody who gave me the content for it, so appreciate that. It's not going to work. Okay, right. Now what happens is we go back to Marie's department, and we have 3 different product managers, and they're working on different solutions. Again, we map it into each of these into this interactive matrix so people can see where things are. And then again, we try to okay, great. Happening here. Right. Integrating new thing, and this is it. Right. Okay, great. And then we talk about Susan. So Susan, basically, where does she fit in this? And so we explain that she's trying to expand the functionality of the app. Where would that be? So I was able to actually include something where people put in the answer. So the answer is 4, right? And it gives the acceptable responses. And then we talk about, now here we have Susan, she wants to talk to the chief product officer. And so what is she going to talk about? So we move into one of the last modules, which talks about how Susan can be successful. So here we go. She is going to decide it's square 4, existing personas, existing markets, new initiative. And then here she is. What is she going to talk about and what is she going to avoid? Because that's really the conversation we're trying to get to. And so we basically have a couple of different quizzes where we identify those um, options for Susan to talk about. And we keep going. And so here she is. She's very excited. She learned this new stuff, and here she is. And here are the bullet points that she can use to talk to Andrew. And she's happening. She's doing very well. And we also give people encouragement because while we want to restrict the conversation to one Ansoff square, it could be that people want to move it. And so we have to let product managers know that if that happens, they have to call it out. They can't just accept the move. They have to be responsible for it. And then there's a very quick review of how to use it. So I tried to do a process here, which is you start with the market, then you focused on the products, and then you make sure that you actually focus on what you actually have to get done. And just as a reminder, we remind people about all the content that we reviewed in the class. And then lastly, people are encouraged to say, congratulations, you have this new capability. You are considered an Ansoff Ace. Here's your logo. And in fact, here's a way to download the logo. And that concludes the class. And so I'm very excited about this. I think it really covers the breadth of the topic and hopefully does it in a way that is instructive and interactive for the people that are taking it.